Next question. My mother has a basic smartphone which my sister had brought her last year as she was due to travel and we wanted to be able to contact her. A family friend later introduced my mum to the likes of WhatsApp, and my mum uses it to keep in contact with her family around the world. She occasionally uses the camera to take photographs, but more so her family members send her photos of the family. I have explained to my mother photography is haram, but she has not taken my advice. However, she accepts the fact my sister and I do not take photos of ourselves. Tayyib, before I continue, there are scholars from Ahl Sunnah who say photography is exempted from the ruling on images and photography is allowed. I don't adopt this position for myself. I don't believe it to be correct. However, it's recognized that it is a position that scholars have. With that, your stance on photography and on the other people who are involved in photography has to lighten up, not like issues where the scholars have all agreed on an issue. Then when you oppose them or when you call them to what is correct, there has to be some sternness or some firmness in the way you call them to it, and some lack of lenience, I could say here. Not lack of lenience, but you know what I mean. You don't give up on that issue. You don't allow excuses in that issue. However, this is an issue يسوغ فيه الاختلاف. There's permissible, not permissible, but let's say here understandable differing amongst the scholars, and with that we say that it's best to stay away from it, because why? We're in a prohibited area here. We're talking about whether something is exempted from being haram or not, and when the people differ over that, the best and safest thing for your religion is to stay away from it. When you're not sure what's correct amongst the statements of the scholars, go back to the base rule. The base rule in image making is that it is haram, it is mal'oon, it is something cursed. وَأَشَدُّ النَّاسِ عَذَابًا يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ الْمُصَوِّرُونَ. And the worst people, the people who face the heaviest punishment on the Day of Judgment are the people who make images. So, unless you're absolutely certain that Allah has exempted photography, images made with a camera and a cell phone and so on, from this ruling, unless you are absolutely certain that this is Allah's exemption, then I advise you to be cautious and to avoid it and to stay away from it. However, with people who are holding to a position from one of the scholars, and they say, for example, Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen allowed photography with a camera and with devices and so on, and they believe it's correct and they have read the issue and they're following what they understand to be the fatwa of a qualified and righteous imam, and they have absolutely chosen a qualified and righteous imam in the choice of Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen. If that is the case, we have to back up on the issue, and we can't chase it down like you would chase it down and be very serious about it and not allow excuses for someone who said the Quran is created, or for someone who said Jamaat al-Tabligh is okay, they're from Ahl Sunnah, or like someone who said drinking alcohol is okay, or smoking marijuana is okay. Those issues don't have the same opportunity for leniency as this one does, and Allah Ta'ala knows best. So your question goes on, and you say, my question, with all of that in mind, my sister purchased a new phone and wants to give my mother her old phone. However, we know she will continue to use this application and send photos to her family, especially because this phone has a better camera than the one she currently has. If my sister gives my mother her phone, will she be sinful? Allah Ta'ala knows best. Allah Ta'ala knows best. There is no obligation on you to give her the phone. So if you fear the phone being used for what you understand to be something haram, then you have the right to be cautious and not give her the phone. However, would you be sinful if you did? وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى. You would not be accountable for the sins of another person. And Allah Ta'ala knows best.